I, 21 male, got a friend request from my dead ex-girlfriend, 21 female. Original post. In 8th grade, I met this girl, North. She was in my band class, and the two of us hit it off. I asked her out on a movie date, and from there, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. She was my first girlfriend, and things were going all right, until her dad got a new job across the country in California. North moved away, but we decided to try long-distance dating through our freshman year. We were not built for long-distance dating. I couldn't protect her from bullies, hug her when she was crying, or tell her it was going to be all right when she told me about her depression. We got into arguments over God knows what, but decided to keep the relationship going because her dad was trying to transfer back closer to our hometown. That was until she stopped texting me around Christmas. Then her sister sent me a funeral program and asked me to go to California. North's sister told me that she had taken her own life because the bullying had become too much, and that I wasn't there for her when she needed me. It broke my heart that I couldn't go to California for the funeral, and for the past 8 years, I've mourned her loss. I spent my entire high school career trying to rebuild myself from all the damage. I attended meetings for people who had lost family members and loved ones. I went to therapy for 4 years to help process the loss. I had to learn how to become dependable because I didn't want it to happen again. After working on myself for 4 years, I asked out one of my classmates, Lucy. We started dating at the tail end of our senior year and are about to celebrate our 4-year anniversary in April. Last night, I got a notification from Facebook saying I had a new friend request. I opened the app and found out it was from North. She looks older, but it's undeniable that there are pictures of her as an adult, with her fiancé and her newborn daughter. I have spent 8 years of my life believing that she was gone, but here she is with undeniable proof that she has been living a great life without me. My stomach is in knots, my heart is sinking to the ground, and my mind is racing, trying to figure out what happened and what I should do. Do I accept a friend request? Do I ignore it and try to move on? I feel completely lost, and I feel like my entire life has been a lie. I've spent the entire night looking at pictures of her and her family, floored that she would do this to me. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. She faked her own death to break up with you. Very likely, teenagers do the stupidest things. That's so messed up. Or she was trying to manipulate him to come see her in the stupidest possible way. Whatever you do, please discuss this with your current girlfriend as well. She will likely feel betrayed if you reach out to an ex you never got closure with without telling her. That being said, I would accept the request and ask her about the fake funeral and everything. You have a right to know. Jesus, I didn't even think about how to talk to Lucy about this. I know I need to tell her, but I don't even know how to bring it up. Might the sister have done it without North's knowledge? North was the one to stop texting me first. I don't see a world where she ghosts me, and her sister just so happens to send her regards. As a parent, if my child went through all you did, I would be on the phone with her and her parents asking what the Of course more politely, but what in the actual hell? Sorry you went through all this, OP. I think the advice you've been given is really good. Have you talked to your current girlfriend about this? Oh, and to add, I'd make sure you block the whole lot of them when and if you get some answers. Lucy has always known about North. It was one of the first things I told her about when we started dating. She's always been understanding and patient with me figuring out our relationship. Now for the first update. Thank you all to all who have responded. I want to get to each and every one of you, but for now, I hope this update will do. For now, I have decided to wait until Lucy gets home from work before I make any decision on whether or not to accept the friend request. I want to know what she thinks, and I can always depend on her to keep me level-headed. But until then, I just kinda want to sort out my feelings. I remember the day that I found out about North's supposed death. It was a few days before Christmas, and the snow just started to hit the ground. I remember walking to the edge of the neighborhood along the main street. I sat on the sidewalk, watching the cars, thinking about how if I walked onto the road, they wouldn't be able to stop. I was sitting there on a sidewalk contemplating for what felt like hours. It was there I decided I wanted to keep living. It was the most important choice of my life. But now that choice feels hollow. It feels meaningless. Every decision that I've made since then has come from that choice I made 8 years ago, and now it feels empty and without promise. I'll keep you guys updated on what Lucy and I decide. Please don't think for a second I plan to do anything drastic. I really don't. I want to keep making that choice to live. But for now, I just need to figure out my meaning. Now for the second update. I accepted a friend request. After Lucy and I talked about it, we agreed that the possibility of getting some sort of closure would be worth it. So I accepted a friend request and sent out a text saying hello. About a half an hour later, I received a notification that North responded. We started talking a bit, talking about how our lives have been. Turns out, her and her fiancé were in town visiting family, and it started to make her think about all the hurt she costed me, and that she wouldn't feel comfortable moving on with her relationship without knowing if I was okay. She tried to apologize, saying that we were dumb kids and that it seemed easier to ghost me instead of break up with me. She told me all about how in some messed up teenager way, she thought giving me an explanation to her ghosting me would make it easier to move on, and so her and her sister concocted a whole story. I told her about the years of therapy, the years of loneliness, and how guilty I felt when I started dating again. I told her about how I used to think she was the one for me, even through the nights of arguing, and that she left me more hurt than if she just threw me away. And I told her that in some weird way, I'm thankful to her. Her death changed me for the better, and I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for her. I then texted, having said that, I will not accept your apology. It's a shallow attempt to free your guilty conscience before you get married. If you were really sorry, you would have said something sooner. You would have apologized sooner, or would not have done it at all. You took the coward's way out, and I do not forgive cowards. She said she understood, but hoped that one day I could move past the hurt she caused me and find it in my heart to forgive her. I took screenshots of the whole conversation and sent it to her fiancé. I don't know if he knows the story between me and her, but now he can have enough of an idea that they can start that conversation. I hope they figure out how to move past it. After all, they look very happy together, and the mistakes of a teenager should not affect her current life. However, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me hoping it crashes and burns. I know this is not the update some of you guys wanted. Some of you really wanted me to bully my way through the conversation or play mind games to mess with her. But that is not who I am, nor is it who I want to be. On the bright side, I can now truly move on from the relationship that costed me 8 years of my life and put the whole story of North behind me. Thank you to everyone who helped me find the courage to face this head on. Thank you to everyone who sent kind words. And thank you to the guy who DM'd me the number to suicide hotline. I won't need it for the foreseeable future, but I appreciate it nonetheless. All of that seems just so unnecessary. So, I want to break up with him, but I'm a coward, so I don't want to tell him that. Instead, I'm just going to ghost him because that's easier than breaking up with him. But I also want to be easier for him to move on. So I'll have my sister create a funeral brochure and make up a lie about me ending myself. But wait, let's also blame him for not being there to protect me. So much for sparing his feelings, I guess. Oh, and let's not forget, I'm going to invite him to my non-existent funeral. Phew, thank God he didn't try to come to it at all. That would have been really awkward. I really want to know what their plan was, if he suddenly was able to come to the funeral. Honestly, judging by the ability of the teens I know to anticipate for consequences of their actions, I'm going to say with some confidence, there was no plan. Wow, what a crappy thing to do. Especially blaming OP for her death. Saying that without him there, she couldn't handle living. That's just awful. North and her sister are despicable. Yeah, I don't see in what world there was a well-meaning logic there. Faking her death, okay, extreme conflict avoidance, yada yada, but going, she ended herself because you didn't take good enough care of her, that's practically a murder attempt. And I also want to know what kind of sister would go along with such a crappy plan. If I had proposed something like this to my sister as a way to break up with my partner, she would have smacked me upside the head and told on me at that age. And at my current age, should probably just tell my partner to break up with me. LMAO. Unfortunately, I do know someone immature enough to do this. They had an extremely poor upbringing and are constantly finding the love of their life every 6 months or so. They choose to not find a job, so they have lots of free time to make stuff up. Next story. Cheating girlfriend in a coma. For context, I'm male 28 and my girlfriend is 26. This all happened around the end of 2023, so I was 26 and she was 24. My girlfriend struggled with eating disorders for a long time. She would have months where she ate well and then all of a sudden revert back to old patterns. Around this time, she was starving herself. Because of this, she ended up passing out, and due to some pretty incompetent paramedics, she suffered a stroke and went into a coma. She has since woken up, but now has locked-in syndrome and can only move her eyes. A couple of months after she went into a coma, her brother came to me and told me that, in the weeks leading up to it, a guy had been regularly visiting her apartment and sometimes sleeping over. Obviously, this was crushing to hear. I couldn't even confront her about it. When I was alone with her, I used her thumb to unlock her phone and found texts confirming that she had been having sex with this guy, as well as a couple of other random hookups. I asked her brother for a favor, to tell the family that we had broken up before the coma, so I wouldn't seem like a complete a-hole for leaving her like this. He agreed, and I haven't been back to visit her since. I pray for her recovery. No one deserves to suffer through something like that. Even just watching her in that state was hard. But still, I can't go back and see her knowing what she did. Edit. By the way, to anyone saying this is karma and that she deserves it, please relax and do your search. No one deserves locked-in syndrome, at least not for something as comparably inconsequential as cheating. Now for the comments. You did good. Her brother did good too. He could have told me a little earlier, but better late than never, I suppose. Dude, that's his sister. You owe him one. A guy like that is someone you can trust. Take it from someone a lot older. A lot of people you think you know will end up crossing you later in life. You should stay friends with this guy. Getting locked-in syndrome is literally one of my biggest fears. Anyway, sorry OP. What a messed up and confusing time to find all that out. You're not a bad person for not being able to pretend while she's locked in. I doubt I would be able to either. One of my fears too. I can't imagine how hellish it feels for her. I'm so sorry. It's an all-around awful situation. How crushing for you. You said you haven't been back to visit her, and she has locked-in syndrome. Do you think she has any idea why you aren't there? Take care of yourself. I'm no expert in how LIS works for the person suffering. If she's at least conscious and aware, then I'm sure she has some idea. I was going to speak to her, but talking about this when she can't converse back felt wrong. My now fiancé went into a coma and had locked-in syndrome for about 45 days. She still cries thinking about it. I can't imagine what she went through. This was before we met, by the way. But damn, crazy stuff. Honestly though, good job doing what was right for you, bro. You didn't make it mean or vindictive, you just left. And I hope you're doing well. Objectively, I hope she does well in the future too. My fiancé had to relearn how to walk, talk, swallow, and even chew. Tough to come back from it, but it's possible. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad her brother told you. He really stood up for your best interests. I hope you're able to heal quickly from this. This was all about a year and a bit ago now. I've moved on mostly. I'm dating again. Nothing serious at the moment, but still. Last story. Ran into my cheating ex's parents this evening. They told me they missed seeing me around. I dated Cindy for almost 3 years. We had ups and downs like any couple, but I thought things were good. Her family adored me. Her parents, who I will call Jim and Michelle, told me how they thought I was really good for Cindy. 6 months ago, I caught her sneaking her guy into my apartment when she thought I would be at work. We had separate places, and she had a spare key to my apartment for emergencies. I had been using PTO that was about to expire, and I hadn't told her. Imagine my freaking surprise when she and her guy barged in before realizing I was sitting on the couch. She gasped, and it looked like he had just been caught with his hand in a cookie jar. I made her give me my key back, kicked them out, and blocked her. I think they were exercising some weird cheating kink by going to my apartment. They probably had done it before. Today, I went to a bar after work to eat my weight in French fries and down a couple of beers. It's located 2 blocks from my apartment complex, so I wouldn't need to drive if I wanted to get drunk. I was sitting at the bar when someone tapped my shoulder. I looked over, and it was Jim and Michelle. It took me a moment to recognize them. I asked what they were doing there, and they told me someone had recommended this bar to them at some point. It was probably me months ago, so they wanted to check it out. They invited me to their table, and I figured, why the hell not? We talked about work, and they asked how my mom was doing. I think we all knew the conversation would eventually turn to Cindy, and then her mom spilled the beans. She's now in a relationship with the guy she was cheating on me with. Jim and Michelle absolutely despise him. He's rude, crass, and makes for a poor dinner guest. He's overly affectionate and possessive of Cindy. At Christmas, he drunkenly hit on Cindy's aunt, Jim's sister, and made things uncomfortable. Cindy has forbidden her parents and their extended family from asking about me or questioning why she left me for a fratty craphead. Her parents feel immensely disappointed in her and told me that I was always such a big help with family and family gatherings. They were even nice enough to cover my tab. I just got home a few minutes ago, and I feel better than I have in a long time. I suppose this is what winning a breakup feels like, which I acknowledge is petty, but what the hell? Nothing better than this feeling. You did nothing wrong, and they have a stupid daughter. I hope you find a worthy person who values you because you deserve it. I feel bad for the parents, and by extension, the family, because they have to watch their daughter stand by a stupid decision just because she's too proud to admit she messed up. And to a very, very small degree, I feel bad for the daughter. If he's this bad to her own family, I can only imagine how he is behind closed doors. It sounds like she's staying with him because that's the only way she can justify what she did to Opie. That said, she chose all of this, and I feel no sympathy for the life she's chosen. Absolutely sucks. Sorry that happened. One of the things about breakups people overlook is also losing cool relationships with family members of that person's. Her parents and her family are lovely people, and I did miss them. They were always a good hang. Did you tell them why you broke up? They knew. It's likely one of the reasons they hate their daughter's new boyfriend and why they feel disappointed in her.